and me's. Like to mix it up. Hi, this is Sarah May. Hi. And this is a podcast for Justin. Thank you for suggesting this to help others. And I hope this helps you as well. So, this is a podcast about not knowing where to start. So, it's pretty easy to never deal with anything heavy in your life or maybe anything that makes you feel vulnerable in life because you can always find a way to distract yourself or hide from the tough stuff. So maybe you've been coasting through your emotional adulthood and perhaps medicating any and all issues that scare you that might come up along the way just by numbing them with like drinks or TV or just constant distraction. Um, and maybe you've just never allowed yourself to become vulnerable to another person because you've just kept it superficial. So you just kind of pass the time in your life, but you never venture past that top layer. You just keep it casual. And maybe it all feels fine until one day you just suddenly wake up and you realize you don't know who you are, what you want, or whether or not you like yourself. And maybe something in your life actually brought this to a head. So finally, you met someone you wanted to be in love with, and that made you feel totally clingy and terrified because it was so reliant on them liking you. Or maybe you've just been through a breakup and you suddenly realize that you feel totally shattered, like you have nothing as just you solo. So if this sounds like you, this is a podcast for you. So, firstly, know that this window of clarity is the best thing that could have happened to you. And the fact that you are aware of this means you have the potential completely in you already to change. Like you already know exactly what you need to know. It's already innate in you to do all the change that's necessary. It just doesn't feel like that right now. Like the fact that you're even acknowledging it and you can see it, like see what the growth that's needed, this void, means you are brave enough and you are capable of overcoming and growing into the exact person you want to be, even if you don't know who that is yet. So um, before I go on, I just want to echo that this is an amazing opportunity. And although you might be kind of reeling from the shock, right now you get to choose who you are going to be. And that's really awesome because it's exactly you can actually dictate who that is. Like you can become anybody you decide to. It's like right now you have a blank slate. So just keep that in mind. This is a blessing. It doesn't feel like it. You might feel lost. You might feel angry at yourself because you've wasted time or whatever. Don't think about any of that. Just think about like right now you have been given a great opportunity for growth, and it's a blessing in disguise. So I'm gonna give you the tools to just move through this time efficiently, but know that because you are realizing that you need to do this work on yourself, you already have what it takes to do it. So all you've got to do is pretty much just go through the motions. I'm going to give you what I think are those motions, and decide you want it. Decide you want to know yourself as your best self. You decide you want it for yourself, because all it takes is just the commitment to that goal, and the rest is very just automatic, I would say. So there are 10 different tools, and if you'd rather read them, I'm going to also post the blog version of this on teaspoonofhappy.com. So keep an eye out for that in the next couple days. All right, ready? Here we go. So number 1, start by setting up stability. And that is just something that will regulate your chemicals and keep you rational. Right now, if you're kind of reeling and you're starting to figure out what needs to be done, the most important thing is that you stay emotionally, chemically balanced. So find an exercise that you can do every day and get as many veggies into your diet as possible, even if that means you're eating the same thing every day. It's just right now, especially, you've got to take very, very good care of yourself. So if you're not really, you don't know nutrition very well, I recommend MyFitnessPal. So if you need help, it's just like it's an app that will help you just the basics of getting enough nutrition every day. So, included in stability, I don't want you to take any unnecessary medications and limit the alcohol. I don't mean you have to just cut out all beer from the weekends, but use your best judgment about how much you should drink and try to keep it to the bare minimum. It's kind of like a no-brainer, but don't take don't abuse drugs, don't abuse alcohol. Right now, it's very important to just keep your body super, super healthy and balanced. And that means just like brain chemicals, like you want to keep your blood sugar really, really level right now. And I just want to say also, if you have recently ceased taking taking in a lot of chemicals, know that it's going to send your body into a kind of a roller coaster of withdrawals. So just anticipate that it's going to happen and know that if you feel like, oh my God, my life is falling apart, it's probably because of that. Your body's just going to go through some dramatic changes. So it's just know that it's going to happen and calm yourself down if and when that does happen. And I'm going to disclaim right now that you should not be taking recreational drugs or drinking heavily if you want to stabilize your mood and maintain a rational mindset. It's just you're kind of stacking the odds against yourself, because if you suffer from depression or if you suffer from anxiety or if you have other mood problems, it's very possible that 99.9% of that is caused by the chemical intake that is just screwing up your chemicals. So in short, especially when you need to be emotionally balanced, be aware of the the effects that substances like drugs have on you. So be aware, try to stop, please, and take care of yourself and just stay on track. So if you need extra help, go to a 12-step group. Don't be a pussy. Get over it. Seriously. It's just don't decide like I don't like that stuff. It's like just get over it. Just go. Totally worth it. Lots of people do it. Don't be too proud. It's not. It's actually they're pretty fun. I would say they're like cool and a very good experience to have in your life. Number 2, add a new class or a routine that expands the new you. So this means like you're going to choose one new class, try a couple at a time. You're basically going to find one new addition to your schedule that is going to and depending on your schedule, maybe a couple. But like I'm assuming if you have a pretty busy schedule work-wise, like at least one new class a couple times a week. So something that's going to enlighten you as to this new you, and and I would just choose that class based on like something you idealize in others. Like you get to decide who this new you is going to be. So if for example, you've always thought it was cool that people do Pilates, or there's some sort of CrossFit thing that like cool people at your work do, like you're the new you might do that. So just sign up for a class like that. um, Second disclaimer, that same emotional chemical roller coaster goes for exercise. If you start to do a lot of exercise for the first time in your life, you're going to alter your hormones, and it might feel like a little bit crazy at first. Like you might notice your body is going through a lot of changes, or your sex drive dips, or you can't really sleep very well. Whatever it is, anticipate it. Might happen. It's your body just reacting to change, but it'll level out. So don't be alarmed. Um, and I specified exercise classes because I think that's essential. It's like always, you need to get exercise in. If you're going to add a new class, why not make it an exercise class? But that said, if you have a routine you already do and you exercise regularly, choose a different kind of class. Something that the cool people you idealize do, like, I don't know, learn the ukulele. Why not? So that's number 2. Number 3, ingest health and inspiration through your ears and your eyes as much as possible. So during the day, literally attach headphones to your head and start plugging in good information. Anytime you're not in a place you have to be listening or paying attention, you will be ingesting some sort of positive information. Like you've got to be educating yourself, you've got to be listening to inspirational podcasts. Anytime you're at home, you're reading books that are inspirational or educational. You've just got to fill up your phone and just, Google inspiring podcasts and just plug them in. And anytime you are not doing something else, you are filling your brain with this new stuff that expands you intellectually and soothes you emotionally. So that's number 3. Number 4, in general, invest monetarily in you. And I know this is like a weird one, but for a lot of people, if you've never done work on yourself and you've never invested it in personal growth, you will feel weird when it comes to paying for stuff. Like you will think, that's kind of expensive. Like, I don't really need that. This is very, very important. It's one of the most important things in the world to you in your life, and it's the most worthy of investment. So do not decide it's less important. It's your job, right now especially, to invest a lot in building the best you possible. It's like but you're building a house. Build that foundation right. So just do it to the max. Don't give yourself any excuses and splurge on things that will advance your growth exponentially. So for example, if there's a retreat that seems like it'll unlock a part of you, or you're just thinking, that might be really interesting, it might help me grow, go. Push yourself to explore and learn about yourself and put yourself in environments that might inspire growth. And don't hesitate to spend money on that. If it's like a therapist, that is the most worthwhile money you will ever spend. And it'll pay you back in the future just because of what you get out of it. So don't decide it's not worth paying for. It's more important than clothes. It's more important than makeup. It's more important than a car. It's the most important thing. It's your person. I digress. Number 5, educate yourself on obvious issues that you have. Meaning, if there's something that came up in this recent crash of your personal life or whatever it is, like if you know that there's things that you have to deal with and they're blaring issues like fear of intimacy or maybe if you cheated on something, whatever it is, like if there are very obvious things that need addressing, just start to read books on the topics and just so literally Google them. Like, how would you summarize yourself and what you want to change about yourself? Like, what got you stuck in the first place? So just Google those topics if there are any and just find the most highly regarded books and buy them and read them. And because I think, honestly, like one of the most powerful cures for being afraid of dealing with something or of feeling like you can't overcome something or change is understanding why. It's like as soon as you understand why something happened, you're like, oh, that's totally, that makes sense. Everybody does the same thing as a result. Like it's always logical. It's not because you're screwed up. It's not because you're lesser. It's not because you're stupid. It's totally human behavior. So it's like it'll dispel it and it'll also likely give you some steps or processes to help you start working on letting it go. And so alternately, if you have issues that you think you would benefit from seeing a therapist, I think therapy speeds along this growth process so dramatically because it's like somebody is there to coax it out of you. It's like you don't have to do it all on your own. It's like you have a bounce board and somebody's kind of like leading the progress. So if you do decide to go that route, go to at least 4, and I recommend more than that. Go to at least 4 before you settle on one. Because just like a plumber, there's some terrible plumbers out there. There are also some terrible therapists out there. And I mean that because they should not be practicing. I don't mean they're terrible humans. I just mean they're like not equipped to deal with emotions of others. They should not be practicing. I digress. Okay, that was number 5. Number 6, be nice to yourself. If there's one thing you absolutely do not need any of right now, it's looking down on yourself and where you are or talking down about yourself. So just stop that as soon as it starts. And I know if you've been doing this for quite a while, or if you're feeling really lame, it can be very hard to do this, but the best rule of thumb is just distract yourself. So as soon as that whatever talk starts to begin, just put on headphones, go to the gym, redirect your attention. Just stop it in its tracks. So it's not like you have to argue with it. It's just like, nope, changing the subject in my brain. Go to something else. Call somebody on the phone. Like you're not allowed to let those thoughts live in your mind at all. No complaining to others about you and your life and how you wish it was different. None. Actually, that kind of leads me to number 7. Number 7, no dwelling. And this is a big one because it takes effort to not wallow. I mean, if you feel sad, you can let yourself cry and you should let yourself cry, but it's about knowing when to put it away because you're basically like flooding your body with some very very heavy emotions. And so it can kind of slow you down and make it harder to get back up. So this is a time when you need to decide and say to yourself, and now I'm done. So if you have to get out some of the sadness, like if you just went through a breakup, it doesn't mean you're just going to bury it. It just means like when you open that wound, you have to decide when it's time to put it away, and you're basically going to have to like almost say out loud to yourself like, and now I'm going to stop thinking about that. And you're just, even for the day, like just keep it in small doses. If you have to mourn, do it in small doses and then put it away emotionally. Like I have a couple visualization exercises in my book, which is on my website, but I will try and write a blog about it in the future. But basically, emotionally, you're gonna have to decide to close it up for a little while just so you can function. And it doesn't mean you're not gonna allow yourself time to grieve, but it's just there's a certain point that it just becomes too heavy. So no dwelling. Number 7. Number 8. This is a fun one. Do kind things for people and don't tell anyone about it. So do one a day, and this is not a joke, because this one works wonders. Like if you, I recommend doing more than one thing, like, and just get in the habit of being benevolent, like acting benevolent. So look for any chance to donate money, help someone like in need, little things like, a stranger at the grocery store, whatever it is. And even better, do totally random acts of giving. Like look for things that'll make someone's day. Like look for those little opportunities to like when someone really needs something or something would really make someone happy, because those have like crazy awesome effects. And the reason why is because it makes you feel amazing. It makes you feel like a really good person. It makes you feel awesome because you're showing yourself that you are kind. Like you are actually demonstrating it to yourself. So it's like, yeah, it feels selfish because it makes you feel like a great person, but that's what you need right now. You need more reasons to like yourself and love yourself and think you are great. Because if you've had a relationship where you felt like you had nothing and that person breaking up with you was able to level you to nothing, that's a very clear sign to me that you have no self-love. And that is the reason that you're allowed to be completely so invested in somebody else. You just didn't have any awareness of yourself. It doesn't mean you hate yourself. It just means you have no self-worth that you can hold on to and rely on. Um, so basically, this is a shortcut to building self-love. And you might be thinking, but that's selfish, and this is going to make me feel selfish, and then the only reason I'll be doing it is because of this, and it's just for me. And to that, I say that is negative self talk, and you're not allowed to do that. So stop it. Also, what you will quickly learn is that that's not the only reason you're doing it, because you will immediately love it. It's like you'll feel really good based on it, and it'll just become something you want to do because it makes you happy to make other people happy. I will also say when you choose those benevolent acts, you are the person that has decided what to do. Therefore, that act has originated in you. I'm not making you do it. It's not false. It's something you have seen and comprehended. And because of that, you are genuinely the person that is kind because you have this capacity to understand how to deliver kindness. I know that got kind of meta, but I hope you understand what I meant. So it's really your creation, all those benevolent acts and you'll just want to do them. So right now, you are just going to look forward to doing that, and you're going to complete those actions, and you are going to, most importantly, allow yourself to feel good about the benefits. Like you're going to allow yourself to feel awesome. Like, I did something really nice for somebody, and you're going to relish it. And I'm mandating that. It is mandatory. You are not allowed to negate the value of what you've done. You have to savor and relish the goodness of the acts, and you're entitled to feel them. So that part's mandatory. Number 9, decide your key personality traits of being. So this is a good journal process to go through. But basically, if there was one key factor in your life previously that kind of bit you, you get to decide you're going to change that now. So if you were not good at standing up for yourself, or you allowed people to not be loving towards you, or whatever it is, you're basically going to write down the key traits that you are going to become. So I think in order to create the right change, a lot of the time, if you ended up in a place like this, you're very unaware of all of the causes. Obviously, you end up here and you're like, what happened? How did I even get here? And what was I asleep the whole time? So, as a starting point, just pay attention to your unconscious thoughts and just your reflexive behaviors. So, you're going to start becoming an objective observer of yourself. So, just start taking notes about um, the reactions that you have in certain situations, things that upset you, or things that have caused fights, or things that have hurt you in the long run, like when certain people make you angry, or things that make you feel low. So take little mental notes and write them down, because they will be key signifiers for what you are going to decide to change. Like, for example, if do you get really passive aggressive and petty if someone doesn't call you back? So circle that, and that'd be something you would change. So you'd be saying I'm not going to be the person that takes things like that personally. I'm going to be the person that never feels wounded, or like I have to feel, um, personally attacked by somebody else's poor decision making. That's something that you might not even notice you're doing, or that you have a choice to change. So just start to take notes, and if you know them based on the notes, just write the list of who you want to be, or what are the traits that you are going to become as you move forward. Let's write that list. Number 9. Um, and if you do want help on any of this, I have a daily journal that might help in this process, and it just helps you decide new traits and reinforce them. So it's on my website, Teaspoon of Happy, and it's a happiness journal. Which brings me to the last, and it's kind of the most important one on my list, which is number 10, first things first. So when you are looking at a lot of work to be done, and you've gone through a major life change, I know it can feel really overwhelming. So when you get overwhelmed, that's usually when you get paralyzed, or you start to emotionally spin out of control. So it's like you feel untethered, or like you have nothing to hold on to. And that's kind of the opposite of a solid foundation for positive growth. So as a rule for yourself, especially right now, just put things in the necessary order and only attend to the first thing on your plate at a time. So just keep it as a mantra. If you feel overwhelmed, I don't know what to do, first things first. And the first thing always on that list is your emotional balance via your health. So taking care of basic needs, like eating a good meal, getting enough rest, getting exercise, or some kind of emotional balancing practice So you're not suffering from things like stress at work or anxiety or depression. So not eating enough for breakfast can be a major factor in making you feel like your life is falling apart. Like blood sugar is just a huge, huge catalyst for a lot of other very negative feelings. It's vital, especially right now. You need to stay completely rational and balanced. So things like personal time to soothe your emotions are also a top priority. Activities that will help you feel calm, and don't negate the importance of that daily. Like it's easy to say like, "Oh, I'll go to the gym tomorrow." It's not about working out your body for looks. This is about your mind, your body, your balance as an emotional being. So it's like I'm just telling you, if you were to take care of that diligently, you will quicken the pace by like double of all the stuff you've got to work on. It's so important. I recommend exercise that or activities that calm your mind as well as your body. So like it's always good to sweat, but if you are doing an exercise like yoga or hiking, something in nature is always nice and soothing for brain chatter. Also, meditation, um, therapy, I would put in the list as a top priority. So, whatever you have your you soothing time each day and just obey that, put it first. And that comes first over favors for friends or watching a new show that everyone's talking about or whatever it is. Because in order to do anything for anyone else, well, like you have to have balance. Your chemicals are the most important thing to keep in check right now because it's really easy to emotionally spin out of control. So put your stability first. So those are my 10. I know that's a lot, but just know, I would say, based on that last one, when you start to enforce your list of your first things first, and when you start to enact very diligent self care, don't feel guilty about putting yourself first because if it's something you're not used to, it might feel uncomfortable and you might notice other people won't understand what you're going through and they might make you feel like you're being selfish and that's just them not understanding and it's normal. It's to be expected. It's not their fault, but it's also not yours. And it's not your job to make them understand. It's your job to take care of yourself and make sure you do what is best for your mental health and stability right now. And you are actually benefiting everyone else around you by even taking care of yourself and deciding to work on improving yourself by addressing your issues. Like, that is huge. That's going to make the world better. It's not going to make just your family better, your friends better. It's going to make everything in the rest of your life exponentially better. It's so worthwhile and it's so selfless to do this. So, for now, don't apologize for what you need to do to take care of you. And as you go through the next couple of months, don't worry about whether or not you're up to the challenge because you've already proven you are brave enough to do this and you're able to do it because you've looked at the truth. That's the hardest part of it. That's like what most people can't do. I shouldn't say that, but it's what a lot of people can't do. And therefore, they just keep numbing it and keep wanting it to go away and they ignore it and force it away. But it's what you have done is the hardest part, and you've already done it. So, the best part about where you are right now is it'll just get easier and easier as you go. And you're going to build an incredible amount of momentum once you get started. It's going to turn out to be really fun, actually. It doesn't feel like that right now. It probably feels overwhelming, but don't try and solve for your future. Know that you're going to address it when it's time. Because right now, you're only supposed to tackle what is in front of you, and you can move one activity at a time. So you have no idea what your future will look like yet. You're creating a lot of growth, so the person you are becoming will make a totally different future life than you know right now. Like one of my favorite slogans is if I got to decide my life, I'd always come up short-handed. because it's true. Like, if you got to decide what your future looked like right now, it probably would suck in comparison to what it's actually going to be based on all of the learning that's to come, like all of the growth and the strengthening and the evolving that is to come. And trust that the future is going to unfold the best way possible. And it's not something you have to decide or solve for. And it may not seem like it right now, but you are at the cusp of the best part of your entire life. It's going to be better than anything you could imagine from the place you're at right now. So just keep your eyes on where you're going, like where you're going to step next. So just keep going. Don't overthink it. Just know you're heading in the right direction. And for now, just be gentle on yourself. Be loving to yourself. Be supportive to yourself, because you're doing the right thing and you need you. Be a friend to you. So I hope this helped. And if you liked this episode, please review me on iTunes, because it helps me a lot, and then I can reach more people who need me. Thank you for listening. And for more of my writing, you can visit teaspoonofhappy.com. And I send you my love. I will be thinking about you. I will be sending vibes of strength and motivation and drive and all that good stuff. And smile.